TikTok. I think we are live. Hello, everybody. Hey, Facebook friends. I am confirming on my phone that we are in fact live, even though it says that we are here. Welcome to, I don't even know what round or episode of the Broker Showdown this is, but I've been getting Facebook memories popping up every day that I was doing them a year ago. So we've been staying pretty steady with this for quite a while. Yep, confirmed. We're live, Jason. So hang on one second. So, if you are tuning in live, hello, welcome. We thank you for your time and attention. If you're watching the replay, same thing. We know how busy y'all are, and certainly every episode that we do is just jam-packed full of wisdom. And if this is your first time checking out the Broker Showdown, let me just briefly explain what it is before I introduce today's guest. The Broker Showdown is exactly what it sounds like, where we like to bring in industry leaders, oftentimes broker owners, occasionally, like last week, authors, but people in real estate doing big things who have a heart of a servant, and they're making stuff happen, not just waiting around for life or business to happen to them. And without further ado, today's guest is no exception to the rule. Jason Strain of TriStar Elite Realty down in Tennessee. I'll let him give a more formal introduction, but on a personal note, Jason and I have been running together probably, I don't even know, man, a couple years or so now, maybe. Started as a Facebook connection, and then some of our coaches did some work. I helped train some sessions to him and his agents. We've just been running together, I would say, for a couple years or so now. And I'm like, we need to get you on, because this dude is full of wisdom. He's no nonsense, straight to the point kind of guy, which I love, by the way. And however, he really cares. The conversation we've had, the way he goes about serving and treating his agents is like what you would want in a broker owner leader. And so for that reason, I was like, dude, this is a no-brainer. We got to have you on the show. So here we are. But Jason, thanks for tuning in with us and giving us your time today. Why don't you fill in any blanks that I didn't answer about you, the brokerage, kind of give yourself a more formal intro.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Thanks for having me on and for the invites. Yeah, I'm the owner of TriStar Elite Realty. We're in Columbia, Tennessee, about 45 minutes south of Nashville. So kind of a booming area. We have 40 agents, and so we've been grown pretty steadily. We opened in February of 2019. So we're been open a little bit over 7 years. So, things are going pretty well. Market's a little bit challenging. We'd all like interest rates to be lower.
Yeah.
We keep on waiting on that. Sooner or later, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Can't you put a call into your friends at the Fed or whoever can just go ahead and lower that for us? I mean, that'd be great, wouldn't
it? Yeah. I've got some folks in my contacts. So
yeah, there you go. Now, we're glad you're here, man. And if this is our first time hanging out, everybody, my name is Jake Dixon, and founder CEO of the Locker Room Real Estate Coaching and Training Company. We specialize in working with broker owners, leaders, team leads like Jason on all things related to growth, retention, productivity, and profitability. Getting ready to launch another business, go figure, called the Coach's Brokerage. And also myself and my business partner, Kit, co-own the Locker Room Leadership and Coaching Academy, which is an ICF certified academy that people can go through and receive their ICF certification. So both he and I are movers and shakers. We like to make things happen rather than waiting for things to happen. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started on the showdown. I didn't mention this earlier, but the rules of the game here really are, there kind of is no rules other than it's 3 questions each. So I have come prepared to ask Jason 3 questions. Jason has come prepared to ask me 3 questions. Neither of us have any idea of what we're going to ask the next person, which is why it's fun, it's edgy, it's on the fly, and you get the real honest answer. Yeah, look, he's like, haha, sucker. So it's going to be fun, guys. And along the way, it really helps us. We love hearing from you. If something Jason says or whatever stands out to you, leave us a comment or chime in on your opinion maybe on something. All right. So Jason, are you ready, sir? Shall we dive in?
Yeah, let's get it going.
Let's do it. All right. So here's my first question for you, man. To tee this up properly, I about 2 years ago by now, I interviewed or spoke to 100 independent broker owners in about a 90-day window of time. And I asked them a series of questions, one of which was about their value proposition. So here's my question. Let's pretend I'm an agent in your neck of the woods, Tennessee, and I'm considering making a move right now. Maybe I'm watching this, okay? I want you to basically give me a condensed version of your unique value proposition as to why an agent like myself should consider joining your brokerage, and doing so without disparaging anybody else. Not that you would, but I want to hear what your unique value proposition is.
Yeah, I think as much as anything, and everybody likes to talk about culture with a brokerage, but I think our office, we have that, we deliver on it, and that's not just myself as the owner. I've got a principal broker, our admin, my more seasoned top producing agents. I was at another brokerage for a short time when I first got my license, and I felt like I was kind of on an island by myself. So that was really when I started my own brokerage. That was one of the main features and main keys, that I didn't want anybody to feel like they're out there by themselves. So
Mhm.
we've got a really good group. There's not I always compare it to a track team. In track, it's referred to as a team, but everybody's running the race individually.
Nice.
So, you train together, you encourage each other, but at the end of the day, each agent has to run their own race. So we try to have a supportive group. Some places I think you may go to, some agents are going to be standoffish and, hey, this is mine, you stay away. We don't have that here. We share knowledge and information, and we are very well connected in our
Mhm.
community. So going back to part of the value proposition is, we're very well connected with the civic leaders, builders, developers. We kind of know what's going on, and so many times having information behind the scenes before things happen, it's
Yeah.
key in my opinion. So I think that's, we bring a lot of other things, but I think that's one thing that we really deliver on, is making sure that real estate isn't a lonely place for an agent.
Yeah, I love that answer, by the way. Notice, by the way, guys, what he said, and certainly notice what he didn't say. It was kind of the trick of the question. What he didn't say, that so many others did in that survey I referenced, was many people lead with the compensation plan, the caps, the splits, the fees, the shares, the whatever, the CRM, the tech stacks. I didn't hear Jason say that. So, in my view, he passed with flying colors because he kept it about what is actually unique to their brokerage. And that is a reflection of his leadership style and his vision. So, I'm going to ask a follow up question or two, man. So,
Okay.
you really emphasize culture, right? And like collaboration. A lot of people that you've attracted have this abundant mindset versus just trying to compete. And P.S., I've never heard that track analogy before. I love it. Hello, locker room sports. Um, well done. Well played. It's a team, but everybody's running their own race. Very poetic of you, sir.
all,
So,
all about the analogies. So
yeah, no, it's great. It's great. So here's one of my follow-up questions. You answered a little bit what inspired you to create that culture in the first place. Um, how do you foster this environment? Like, give us some examples. Like, okay, it's one thing to say we're tight, or we got a strong culture, but maybe there's an example or two you can give us of like what you do to bring everybody together and keep this culture and foster it for a long time to come. Like, what do you guys do internally for this?
yeah, we've got we use the GroupMe app. We have a few different GroupMes, so there's a lot of dialogue going back in there. It could
Okay.
be, who do you have for septic inspections in Giles County, or stuff like that.
Right.
Our more experienced agents there, they do a great job with mentoring and bringing some of the newer folks in under their wings, whether it's bringing them in on a deal, or they may need help with a showing, and they may have another agent hop in, or obviously open houses and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So for a brand new agent, uh, you need to show that you're busy and that you're doing business and stuff like that. And our more experienced folks help bring some of the newer people in to get them busy. We've had other agents that have approached us that they were promised the sun and the moon and the stars from other brokerages, and I'm the opposite way. When we meet with somebody that's about to get their license or newly licensed, I make sure they don't think that it's going to be puppy dogs and rainbows.
Yes. Yes.
If they don't want to join my brokerage after that, I'm fine with that. I don't want an agent that expects to be spoon fed. I don't, spoon fed.
I know what you meant.
Yeah. So, I don't want prima donnas. I don't, we describe ourselves as we're a scrappy bunch that sells real estate. We try to have fun, but at the end of the day, we're all here to provide for our families.
Yeah.
That's
winning is fun. Being able to thrive, not just survive, is fun. And there's plenty of time. I know you guys do office events. I've been a part of some of those virtually, and it's a great group, scrappy group. I love that word. But everybody is well educated. They work their tails off, and you guys do a good amount of business down there. I know that to be true. One more follow-up. First of all, I heard you say something there about like the text groups that people like. Stuff like that is so simple. And there's a book called Fierce Conversations that in there it says the conversation is the relationship. The conversation is the relationship. I know that's like, okay, Captain Obvious, but you've created an environment, just one of many examples you could have given, where there's this ongoing dialogue. There's this ongoing conversation amongst everyone. Therefore, it creates this basis for a relationship, like a real relationship, not a phony one. So I thought that was pretty cool. What was could you elaborate just a hair further of what inspired you? Because I heard you say 2019 you launched it, you'd been a part of other companies, and kind of I heard almost in there you learned of ways you didn't want to run a business versus how you did. So like, tell us more about that inspiration and what prompted you to start your own.
Yeah, so my story is a little bit of a crazy one. I was a pharmacist for 21 years, so was out there dealing the drugs. So
legal drugs.
Yeah. I had the piece of paper on the wall. But in 2014, another pharmacist and we started backing builders in our area on new construction houses as real estate investors. And I really fell in love with floor plans and design. And so, after 4 years, I actually got a contractor's license, was thinking about being a builder, but then my gut instinct was I'm not ready for that. So ended up getting a real estate license in June of 2018. So yeah, if you do the math, I opened my own brokerage 8 months later, but kind of crazy. Sometimes I do think I'm not a crawl, walk, run person. I'm a run as hard as I can go in one direction. If I hit a wall, I get up and run as hard as I can go in a slightly different direction.
Yeah.
But, it hasn't been all puppy dogs and rainbows, but it's worked out as good as I, could have hoped and expected. So, yeah, awesome. No complaints. Yeah.
Congrats.
As much as anything, I don't know. I can't tell you why I opened a brokerage. One of my old pharmacy customers was a recruiter for for Exit Realty, and we were an Exit franchise for 2 years. But he approached me and he's like, "Hey, I know you. I know you're destined for bigger things, and you've been building houses in Columbia. We don't have a brokerage down there. We don't have an office down there. Interested?" And so, met with their regional people, sat down, played around with some spreadsheets. I'm more of a numbers guy, and I was like, I think I can do this, and I think I can make some money. So, as much as anything, I think maybe I was up for the challenge, and sometimes being naive is actually a good thing. You don't know, but you have the confidence that you'll figure it out. And, somehow, some way. But again, that's not just me. I've been lucky to come across some good people that have been a part of this journey as well. So that's a piece of it.
Well, man, you passed with flying colors on my first question, and I'm allowed a few follow-ups. This is my show, whatever. But hey, if you're watching this live or replay, let us know. Tell me and Jason, how do you define culture? Like, what is important to you about culture? Sound off in the comments if you can. Let us know if you're watching this. I'd love to know your answer on that. And in the meantime, Jason, over to you, man. Time to ask me a question.
All right. I started off with a very hard one, so this is going to stump you, and I'm sorry to hit you right out of the gate.
I hope you're kidding, but let's go.
Yeah, so here we are. Sock, sock, shoe, shoe, or sock, shoe, sock, shoe.
This is hard-hitting stuff here.
It is.
Okay, so what are my options again? Sock, sock.
Shoe, shoe. Or
shoe, shoe.
Sock, shoe.
Sock, shoe, sock, shoe.
Going to tell a lot about you as a person, Jake. So
yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to overanalyze this question or something, but I'm not, because you just had me take a personality test. That's a whole different story for a different day. So the honest answer, God, I got to think about this now because it's so automatic.
I have to take them off and put them back on and see how.
Well, the problem is I'm not wearing socks today. So, okay. Answer is sock, sock, shoe, shoe. That's my answer. I'm two socks first.
Yeah.
And let me be more specific, actually. It's left foot sock, right foot sock, left foot shoe, right foot shoe.
Okay. So you got it. Okay.
Yes. That is so random. Why? What?
But most people don't think about that, but there's very much a routine. And I think most people are sock, sock, shoe, shoe, but there are some sock, shoe people.
What are you?
I'm sock, sock, shoe, shoe. I think the sock probably psychopaths. They probably.
That's like the people that pour the milk first and then the cereal. You're a psychopath. That's the people that eat the banana sideways instead of, you're a psychopath. Like don't be weird.
Anyway,
I have never been asked that question, so let this go down in history. Today's timestamp 5/28/2026. The fact that a business person asked me the order of which I put on socks and shoes. Fascinating. Sorry. Okay, maybe we'll get before I move on to my next question for you. Let us know in the comments then. If you don't want to answer my culture question, if you're watching this, tell us, are you a sock, shoe, shoe person, or are you a sock, shoe person? And which foot do you put on first? I don't know. Maybe it'll be very telling about our audience.
Yeah.
What a random question. Okay. I'm ready for my next one for you. Are you good?
Yep.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you, which is like impossible. Anybody that pretends that they know is lying. So just humor me and do your best. I'm going to ask you to bust out your crystal ball here and look into the future. Let's go 3 years from now. So it's the year is 2029. Okay. So it's 2029, but I want to know now, what advice would you give real estate agents so they would remain relevant and at the center of the relationship, the center of the transaction in the future, especially in a world where tech and hell, even AI could theoretically be trying to replace the role of an agent? What would you coach and train your agents on now? Yeah.
And every agent's different. Everybody's going to have their own success formula, but we have agents now that they launch themselves by, doing crazy TikTok videos and stuff like that. And, if that gets eyes on them and they're able to turn that into business, hey, great for them, and we've got a lot of AI type stuff and different technologies, but, having said all that, we have tech that's getting involved more and more.
Sure.
At the end of the day, it's a relationship business. I think everybody, most people realize that. So the more people the more people that know you, I think, you know, Nashville's been such a boom market that we have a glut of agents down here. And, you know, some of them, they're maybe not trained very well. So, you know,
Yeah.
on your knowledge and your education, you know, I tell my newer agents, you know, stick a copy of a contract and all the other documents in your bag. And if you're ever slow or you're, you know, go to get your oil changed and you're sitting around, pull that thing out. You know, at the end of the day, if you know some small, minute verbiage in
Right.
that contract, that maybe you end up, you know, using that to advantage of your client. But, you know, just know your market. At the end of the day, knowledge and relationships, you know, they're the base. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And you know, some of the newer agents, or some of the more bold agents, you know, they may be fine dancing on TikTok and stuff like that. And hey, that's great for them if that works for them.
It's attention. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Whatever, you know, gets you in front of people. But at the
Right.
end of the day, you know, relationships and you know, your knowledge. I think you know, 3 to 5 years, we're still talking about relationships and who knows you and who trusts you, and you know.
I sure hope so, man. There's hope because when you turn on the TV or read the funny papers and kids are booing speakers at you know, graduation ceremonies, when every time they bring up AI, it's like, oh my god, maybe there's hope for the future. They're like boo every time they mention AI because that generation is seeing, I don't want to be replaced. I'm human, man. So maybe there's hope. So I love what you said there. And just to expand on that briefly, sorry, not sorry. I taught a class, kind of having fun with people, just a little misleading, with an acronym. I said basically the success formula, the key to success is CRMs. And it's like, what, you idiot? CRMs? No, 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 not what you're thinking. CRMs being an acronym for consistency, right? Relationships. Jason said relationships. Market knowledge. Jason spoke to that. So C, consistency, R, relationships, M, market knowledge, and the S in the acronym is skill set development. So that's what I think is the future. And 2 out of the 4 Jason just hit on as well. I know he likely agrees with the others, but it's like there's nothing new here. Like as long as we just do our job and don't let it replace us, hopefully it won't. Right. But I know there's AI gurus out there experimenting all over the place with it. But I'd like to go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or Tony Robbins when he coaches about the 6 basic human needs, one of which is connection. We're human beings. We're pack animals, man. And this is the largest investment of your life. And you're not going to have a guide, an advisor, somebody who's professionally trained on this to help navigate that. Okay. But I mean, we can't get caught off guard here either and just say relationships, relationships, relationships. So here's my last follow up question for you. What does relationships mean to you as what, like a practical application that an agent should be doing? Like calling into their database every so often? Like, what's your philosophy on how to deepen that connection?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you know, calling and texting people and keeping those lines of communication open.
Yep.
And that's definitely a fine line. You don't want to blow clients up and turn them off and be too salesy.
Right.
Uh, you know, I just, you know, I kind of teach our new agents, hey, be a friend, you know, be a, you know, a former coworker, a good former coworker, maybe it's somebody you used to work with, or, you know, a family member, whoever it might be, somebody you go to church with, whatever that may be. You know, get to know them, let them get to know you and trust you. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's the business side of it, but as much as anything is getting to know people. And especially the thing that's always tricky in our business is typically, you know, if it's a spouse, if it's a couple, you probably know one spouse more than you know the other spouse. And that's always tricky because, you know, you don't know their personality. And, you know, maybe one of the spouses is a friend and you can joke and cut up with them, but you don't know the spouse's sense of humor. Or
Yeah.
same thing in those tense moments when they can't agree on what they want in a house, and you're kind of the third party stuck in the middle when they can't agree on
Mm.
something. And, we're amateur psychologists. I mean, we're dealing with stressful moments and, getting people, talking them down off the ledge and, assuring them that it's going to be okay.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah. So integrating yourself as a real friend, a part of their life, not just every 7 to 9 years when they might have an upcoming real estate need, which is great, subtle, but great advice, because a lot of agents, if they look back at their call logs or their databases, it might show that actually you're only calling when you need something.
Yeah.
Like, what's your motive here? Or are you calling to congratulate their son on graduating high school, and there's no other motive other than just that?
Yeah.
Right?
I think you got to make it about the other person,
Yeah.
and how often do you get a text message or maybe a phone call out of the blue of, hey, was thinking about you,
Yeah.
how you doing? Somebody genuinely means it. Nowadays it's not often, so
Everybody's got an agenda.
yeah, taking the time out to reach out to somebody and
Mhm.
make them feel a little bit special and heard. It doesn't cost money to do that.
No, it doesn't. Jason, I had one of those calls just the other day, man, and what you're saying right now is so freaking true. I won't get into it, but it was like I needed that call. It was just a random, hey, you're on my mind, you're on my heart. I was thinking about you, and I hadn't spoken to this individual in a while, and like, holy smokes! Now then, it got me thinking, how many people do I need to pay that forward to? Best friends, people. I'm joking, not joking. I'm like a bad friend. I feel like time will slip by, and I just get so stuck on work or myself or whatever that it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to so and so in 4 months.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that, So, anywho, it's just there is so much truth to what you said. Those just because calls, and oftentimes, when you're thinking about that person and they're on your heart, it's for a reason, and they might tell you that, oh my gosh, I needed this call today. Thank you.
Yes.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, over to you, sir. Second question. I don't
All
know if it's socks or what's it about now.
Socks, no clothing in this one.
Okay.
All right, so this is a multi-parter because I don't like to follow rules that often. So
Okay, you're allowed.
I'm gonna throw in multiple questions in this one question. But first part, what's your personality, Myers-Briggs personality type? Which I know I sent you that test the other day. And then
Yeah.
with your personality type, what's your superpower and what's your kryptonite?
Okay. Hang on. I'm looking it up right now. The one you sent me, what was this one? The 16 personalities?
Yeah, that's a good.
It I think this is answering your question, but then I'm going to talk to something I'm more familiar with. But it has me as an INFJ-A. And I read through the report and it was pretty accurate. Something I'm more familiar with is the DISC behavioral profile. Kind of, there's some personality stuff in there. Strengths finders, those two I'm very familiar with. So DISC, I'm an DI. I'm a 99% D, 99% I, and there's like nothing else. I don't remember the percentage of the S, and I'm like a 4% C personality. So it's just like, here's what you see is what you get. And then strengths finders, my top 5 were futuristic, activator, maximizer, positivity, and I forget the next one. But anyways, those were my top 5 on the strengths finder. So the two-parter, I think you asked, which one of those is your superpower and which one is kind of your kryptonite sort of thing, an overused strength. And by the way, these things change from my experience. So I was different on my scores years ago than they are today. And so I think how it works for me or as a superpower is I connect with people very easy, very naturally. I think. So I've been told.
Yeah.
I just come into a new conversation, a new relationship, genuinely curious. Like, I ask a lot of questions. And yes, some of that was training I've received because I was always taught as a coach, leader, the person who's in control of the conversation is actually asking the most questions, which means the person doing the most talking is actually doing the most bonding, aka rapport building. Because after all, who doesn't like to talk about themselves? So I've always approached it that way, but it's been emphasized based on formal training I've gotten as a leader too. So I think I connect really well. I can carry a conversation very well. And that's my high I talking there, because I like to influence. I like to connect. I like to be liked, you know. But on the flip side, the damage of that, and which is where some of the D personality can sneak in, is I have found over time with that high I behavioral style, because I want to be liked by all, I want to win the popularity contest, so to speak, I can shy away from difficult conversations. I can shy away from putting myself first because I'm so worried about pleasing or making the other person happy. Because after all, if I say no, they might not like me. I might come across as a jerk. So it's kind of like that fatal flaw. On one hand, it helps me connect very easily, very quickly, very authentically with people. But on the other hand, it can be exhausting energetically. I can have a tendency to put myself last. And I'm learning in real time that when you do that, you don't show up as well or as strong as you should for other people. So it's not selfish to say no. It's not selfish to put yourself first in a lot of equations, because actually by doing so allows you to be better for those that you seek to serve. It's just this kind of mental Olympics back and forth tug of war. But I just had my birthday late April. I'd rather learn it now at the ripe age of 43 than skate through the rest of my life and learning this before, I can make any meaningful adjustments.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of you, I posted about it not long ago, but just to expand on this one last thing. Gosh, what was the name of it? I can't remember, but a lot of you will call this like I'm an introverted extrovert, but they had a formal name for it now. And I'm like, yes, that is me, because I'm the dude that, like, when I'm on stage or on a Zoom, I'll bring the energy. I'm here for it. But when I go home or otherwise given a choice, I'm kind of isolated. Like, I mean, I'm with my kids and my wife and all that. I don't mean it that way, but I'm like tapped out energetically. And so I got no problem going to a restaurant or a movie by myself. I need my Jake space. Some of you watch this know this, that when we host our events or I go to somebody else's event, like a conference, you really don't see me much outside of the conference. I'm in my freaking hotel room ordering DoorDash, recharging, saying I'm all peopled out. Or if we're out having a quick drink or something and it's 10 o'clock, I'm like, I'm done. I'll see you guys tomorrow, kind of thing, because I am done. That's my high D. Like, when I'm done with people, I'm done. I shut down. So I don't know, man. Probably than you asked for, but there you have it.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. What is yours, by the way? Because I don't know the Myers-Briggs, but tell us what yours is.
I'm an ENTJ, the one they call the commander. I think the INFJ that you are, they call it the advocate. But
Yes.
I discovered that maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I've really kind of learned a lot of stuff about myself, or maybe why I do things, whereas before I didn't. I used to always think, hey, I'm logical, I'm reasonable, a reasonable person. Everybody thinks like me, and then it turns out my personality type is either the most rare or second most rare. It's only like 2% of the population. So after I learned that, I was like, okay, maybe I'm the.
I knew you were special.
I'm the weirdo around here. So yeah.
It's fascinating though, right? And by the way, if you guys are watching this and you haven't done, I think you said yours was Briar's. What is it?
It's the Myers-Briggs, but the
Myers-Briggs.
Yeah, that website that I sent you, that's a free one that's easy. It's about 15 minutes. Is
Okay.
16personalities.com. It's just
Okay.
16personalities.com.
16personalities.com. That's what I just did. That's what Jason sent me. And if you do that, if you do DISC, you do Strengths Finder, there's a bazillion of these things out there. But I'm telling y'all, if you haven't done one or at least haven't done one of these assessments in a while, do it. Your future self is thanking you. It is so fascinating, especially when you read through it and you're like, yeah, that's me. How in the hell did it know that? Go for it. All right. There's lots of them out there.
Yeah.
All right, man. I think I got one more for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So my last question was asking you to look into the future. My next question is asking you to look kind of in the rear view, but you'll see why. So here it is. One of my favorite questions. Looking back, knowing what you know now, okay, the journey, the pitfalls, the wins, the losses, what mistakes, or an example of a mistake or pitfall, have you had to overcome during your journey? So that's one. Second part to that is, and what lesson did you learn, or how did it help shape who you are today?
Yeah.
Okay.
So good question. And I really haven't had any big tough lessons, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Um, so I think as much as anything, sometimes I think I can do too much, you
Yeah.
know, and I like to try to accomplish things. So I'm involved in building houses and neighborhood development, but I also, I'm in production. I've got my own clients that I'm working with. I run the brokerage. We had a very large, we partnered up with someone a while back that we had a large property management company that was managing about 450 doors. That
Huh.
might be one time that I learned that, I started getting involved in that, and I decided that was not my jam. So that was one where I had to step back away from that. And I was just like, yeah, this isn't how I want to spend my day, hearing about toilets that aren't flushing. Uh,
That
so
will drain you.
exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, so for that, like I said, it hasn't all been puppy dogs and rainbows. I think maybe learning to say no, learning what's worth your time and what's not. And at times there are lots of people that want your attention, whether it's lenders or title companies or whatever. That I've got my relationships. That's one thing too that for me is a big deal. Is I'm a very loyal person. So the people that I want to work with, whether it's a title company or a lender or on the construction side, roofers, plumbers, all the subcontractors, I want to work with good people that are good at what they do. And
Yes.
that just makes everything else easy. And from there, I think some people want to be friends with everybody, and
Mhm.
you have people that want to work with you and stuff like that, and I get it, it's business. But I've got my circle, and once you're inside that circle, and so for me, I'm just like a very loyal person. I
Yeah.
built my tribe, my group of people, and those are my people, because there's always going to be somebody else out there that's
Yeah.
wanting your time or wanting your attention. But I rarely agree to a meeting with anyone anymore.
Yeah.
It's something along those lines. So what was the
Amazing.
second part of the question? Sorry.
Well, no, it was just, yeah, is there a mistake, a failure, a challenge you've had to overcome, and what is a lesson or something you learned from it?
Yeah. So more or less, you got to be careful spreading yourself too thin.
Right.
There's only so many hours in the day, and fatigue and burnout are real.
Yeah.
As agents, we get to August or September and our gas tank's on empty. So for me, I've had to try to learn that, hey, I don't need to be Superman and do everything, say no to some things, make sure. And March to August, March through August, take a little bit of time out, put your phone down every now and then, because we're tied to our phones, and we always want to be there and provide good service for our clients, or at the brokerage, always be there for our agents. But we got to make sure and charge our own batteries sometimes.
Man, that's so powerful. I hope people listen to that. So there's two things basically, just to repeat back what I heard is, again, and this is a theme for you, by the way, saying no, right? Being okay to say no, reprioritize things. And as you said, if you say yes to everything, your energy, your tank, your gas tank is depleted. And I see it as every time I say no to something that would have otherwise taken my energy away from what really matters, I actually just filled up my tank by another gallon. Woohoo! And gas ain't cheap these days. So winning. And then the second thing I heard you say is who you're in business with matters. I mean, the loyalty that was earned, they're in the circle of trust, as the Meet the Parents movie would say. But who you're in business with matters. Alignment matters. And that being some wisdom that you've gained through a lot of wins and a few rough patches probably along the way, that, yeah, don't sacrifice your standards and who you allow into close proximity to you, because that is a reflection of you. And we become the average of the top 5 people we hang out with the most.
Yeah.
So very, very insightful. Good stuff, man. Thanks for the reminders on that, because we can't hear that kind of thing enough.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. You got one more for me, and then I've got a rapid fire round for you, and we'll close it out.
Yep. For you, what's the achievement in real estate or business that you're most proud of?
Ooh. I don't know about most proud of, but let's see what first comes to mind. In business, I would say, I don't know, again, if it's most proud of, but this is what's on my mind, so I'm just going to go with this answer. I am very proud of, this is circa 10 plus years ago, sitting in a room when I was kind of in this identity crisis, shifting from one role, trying to find my way to a different role inside of this brokerage. And in between that, I was sitting in a room in Fort Mill, South Carolina, learning from a group of really, really high producing agents, because the topic of the day was expansion. How do I take my team and build systems and expand beyond the city, state lines? Okay. And that was a new concept at the time, by the way. And as I was sitting in this room, in fact, I got the journal over here with all my initial sketches in it. I had that vision. I had that moment of like, what if I could create that model, take the basic principles of that model, but apply it to real estate coaches? And that was the genesis, or the origin story, of what now is known as the locker room. And so I'm very proud of being able to capture the vision, being able to filter what other people were doing, follow the same system and model essentially, but apply it in a different arena, saying, well, shit, if it can work it over there, why wouldn't it work over here? And then fast forward, not only in my first year as a brand new coach, we had the top, or at least one of the top coaching programs in the world for this particular company. But I was also documenting systems, building resources, paying attention to every little thing that we did with the vision in mind that, God forbid, it actually worked. Now I can scale and duplicate this and pass it along to other people. And so that's what we did. The locker room now went from my own office to a second office, a third office, a fourth office. By the end of that first year, we were in 55 locations. By the end of the next year, we were in 220 something locations. So you want to talk about hockey stick growth. The vision in that room that one day that I captured and then put into motion has now impacted literally hundreds of leaders, coaches, owners, and to my last count, roughly upwards of 50,000 plus real estate agents, all from a single seed of an idea that I acted on one random day. So that, I would say, I'm very, very proud of, and the work is far from over.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah. It's fun to reminisce on those things. So thank you for the question, man. Yeah, it's not all losses. Sometimes we can get in our own heads and say, well, this isn't right. We live in the deficit or the gap, rather than acknowledging the gain and, in fact, how far we have come.
Yeah, it's like hiking the mountain, every now and then you back.
Enjoy the view, man. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. I've just got four, I think, little quick questions for you, just for fun. This is totally random, not as random as your sock question, though. That's going to be tough to beat. So just to allow people to get to know the different side of you, favorite movie?
Monty Python's The Holy Grail.
Oh,
I've,
is
I,
there just funny?
I love British humor. I feel like
Yeah.
American humor is kind of dumbed down at times versus they're quick witted. And I've watched that movie 100 times, and every time I watch it, there's usually something in the background going on that I've never seen before that's hilarious as well. So it's just like so many different layers of on in each scene.
Not a movie, but I connect with that because I'm a huge Office fan, the Office TV show. And it's the same thing. Like I watch the reruns of that all the time. I'm like, it's still funny. You always see something different and new in there. So, okay. Next question. Is there a unique talent or maybe just a random fun fact about yourself that not very many people know about?
Um, all right. So you ever do the three truths and a lie?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you my three truths because
Oh,
they're weird, random things. So, one, I've never eaten a salad before in my life ever.
so
That that's not even the best one. Number two, I managed the busiest Walgreens pharmacy, the pharmacy of Walgreens in the U.S. when I was 25, 26 years old.
all right.
That was in Granite City, Illinois, in the late 90s. Believe it or not, the busiest two Walgreens pharmacies back then they were in Puerto Rico. So that store was the busiest one in the US at that time.
Oh.
And then this is the crazy one. I had cocaine for the first and only time the summer between third and fourth grade. So
How? You got to fill that in. What?
playing baseball and got drilled with a line drive in the nose, and it broke my nose, and so I got taken to my small town emergency room. And cocaine is a really strong vasoconstrictor,
Oh
so
my God.
that's I guess they couldn't stop the bleeding. So yeah, they put like a cocaine packing up my nose. I freaked out, and then I developed an expensive habit, but it was the 80s, man. Everybody was doing it.
That needed some coloring in. We couldn't have left it at that. That is so freaking weird.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of that before, but all right. Um, Favorite vacation and why?
Probably Greece. Uh, was in Greece, whatever year it was, the month of September, in like the blue waters of the Mediterranean. So we're in some of the islands, Santorini, Mykonos. And at that time of year, the water's super blue and the sunsets were huge, like just massive sunsets. Little fun story with that. Went on a sunset sail with a group, like on a catamaran, a group of strangers. And we kind of, they dropped anchor of the boat in a cove. And while they were like preparing dinner on that boat, they're like, hey, you can, hop out and swim in the water, or you can go ashore. And it was just like a little cove with a little bit of a
Yeah.
safe. But there was it was kind of like a slightly uphill and a little bit of a stone building on the edge of the horizon on this. And so the person I was with, a stranger from Chicago and a stranger from Australia, we're just like, let's go check out that building. We're like,
Yeah.
hey, go ashore. So we swim to the beach, and then we start walking, and we get a little ways back, and it's kind of somewhat rocky, but there's sand areas between the rocks, but there's these little bitty flat like cactus type plants that they were hard to see in the sand. Next thing you know, we just hit a patch of those, and it's like walking through there. But the Australian guy was in front of us, and he was way ahead of us. He never once stopped. He never stopped. Next thing you know, he climbs up on top of the building. We're still like halfway there. We finally get back there. Turns out it was like a stone wall that stone building had three walls, a partial roof, but it was just like there were sheep all collected back there. I guess that's where they'd go to get out of the sun.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and then we had to go back through that. So the moral of the story is don't ever follow an Australian person.
Yeah. They ain't gonna phase them.
Yeah, that dude had to have like, you know, we were all barefoot. It was
He's
just
got leather feet. He's just walking through the outback or something. Yeah.
yeah. He would be great on that Naked and Afraid show because he would be able to walk over anything. But he never once, you know, we're all like making noises as we're walking through there, you know,
Yeah.
whimpering and stuff. That dude never said anything once. So
That's hilarious. That's good. Well, I got one more for you, man. We'll close it out. Is do you have like a real estate blooper or the strangest thing that's ever happened to you in like a showing or something you walked in on? There's a crazy story, you know what I mean?
yeah, there couldn't be a more Tennessee thing than this. I had I had a buyer client with me. He was from England. He lived in Chicago. I think he was in the music business, and somebody had referred him to me. So we go see this house, you know, 10 minutes outside of town, 10 minutes outside of Columbia. And it, you know, it was on a few acres. But anyway, house was nice, very nicely remodeled house. And it had a back porch sunroom. And I'm not joking, but there was a pinned in area, like little gated in area with a pig that lived inside, that lived in the sunroom. And we didn't know about it. Or, I'm sorry, I did know about it. I didn't tell him about it. So just the look on his face, you know, he's this very proper businessman from
Yeah.
England. And like, he was just laughing. He just thought that was so amazing. And, you know, I took pictures and videos, you know, on his phone. He was sending it to his wife and all stuff.
Classic Tennessee there, right? Was it like a potbelly pig or a
Yeah, it wasn't small. It wasn't a baby. It was probably at least 150, 200 pounds. I think it was good size. But you know, they had a little sign on the pen that said, you know, I don't know if we could pet it or not. I don't remember,
yeah.
but yeah, you don't.
Have you ever seen, or maybe because social media and our phones and crap are always listening, have you ever seen that blooper? It was a news anchor and they had to do a piece on a pig and he or she couldn't keep it together because the pig's name was Chris, middle initial P, Bacon. Have you seen that? Crispy Bacon?
I don't know if I have, but that name is awesome.
Oh, dude, it is hilarious because the news anchor they lost it live on TV. Um, and his laugh, his laugh is so contagious. I'll have to find it. I'll send it to you or something, man, on DM. It's so funny. Anyway, okay. Um, dude, thank you so much. I know we're button time. I got another Zoom here in about 7 minutes, but this has been freaking awesome. I've had a lot of fun with you. If somebody, maybe it's an agent in your market or a broker who just wants to connect somewhere, what would be the best way for somebody to connect with you? Phone, email? What do you prefer?
Yeah, usually.
Website?
Yeah, usually text message. So 615-417-0629. Yeah.
Okay. And what is you guys have what's your website just in case somebody wants to also check you out?
TriStarEliteRealty.com.
TriStarEliteRealty.com.
Yeah.
Perfect. Jason, you're the man. This was fun. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
do it again sometime, buddy. Thanks for the sock question.
Yeah. I appreciate the opportunity to come on here. Hopefully this wasn't the most boring one that you've done. Hopefully we entertain people a little bit.
Listen, I'm gonna rat you out, everybody. He was worried that we would be done in like 15 minutes. He's like, I'm a man of few words. I'm short to the point. I'm like, dude, look at us. You just filled 50 minutes worth of gold. Great job.
I had to pull out some BS stories from the archives. So
well, the one between second and third grade, I don't know, man. We're gonna have follow up on that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Hey, over and out, Broker Showdown, whatever round and number this is, we're going to keep doing them. So join us again next week for our next episode. And in the meantime, we'll make this available for obviously replay and all that stuff. And reach out to Jason. Let him know if you want to connect. All right. So thanks again, man.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys.
See you, Jake.
You bet. Take care.